the trigger.
Yeah, all right. So on this podcast, we're going to be talking about what I like to call the housing crisis 2.0, which is, in my opinion, the exact opposite of the 08-09 crisis, which, as we know, was basically an excess of supply and not enough buyers. Now we're in the exact opposite scenario where there are just too many buyers, too much money out there, and not enough homes. And my personal prediction is that over the coming years and decades, basically all the real estate ownership is going to be concentrated in the hands of the few and the wealthy.
Okay.
Dan, any thoughts on that? Are we in agreement here? Do you see the same kind of trend, or?
Yes, I would say so. I'm seeing the same kind of trend, not based off of what you found out that you brought up earlier. So
Okay. Yeah.
obviously, being in the U.S. market quite a bit and being, fairly active and seeing what's going on, I'm getting a lot of news because of the types of, memberships I'm involved in, that I get news that other people don't get and doesn't really hit the market. So I see like large groups, large funds, institutions. I kind of see what they're doing. It's almost kind of how can I explain this? It's almost like having holy fuck. It's kind of like having eyes behind like a closed door of what you actually see in terms of the news that I get.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really hit mainstream. And what's happening is I know you brought up what is it, BlackRock?
Yeah.
Is it BlackRock or Blackstone?
BlackRock.
So I think there's a big conglomerate like for real estate called Blackstone too.
Probably.
What I'm seeing is not necessarily them, but I'm seeing a lot of funds buying real estate, like a lot. And it's like every agent that I talk to over there, it's like it's unprecedented. And I'm seeing stuff that even when I first started in real estate over in the US like a year ago, like this shit never would have moved. Never. Now it's moving. Like just like what we see in Windsor here, where, how long did that one piece of shit lot on the corner of like Cabana and like Dominion sit for? There was like an article in the paper. It sat for like 10 years or something crazy like that. Nobody wanted it. Next thing you know, someone pops up $1 million house on it.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing like really even more so like creative style investing by these large funds, where typically what they would do is they would go in and buy a very stable asset. Well, now what they're doing is they're buying like extremely unstable assets, and like they want the value add stuff because they can't get the returns that they're normally looking for. So they're getting a lot more creative. They're getting a lot more aggressive. And one of the things that I have seen like predominantly come up all the time is these large funds buying like massive portfolios of single family homes.
Yes.
And not maybe not even portfolios, but they're buying everything. Even Zillow is buying like a shit ton. Like Zillow is actually coming under fire for buying so many single family homes.
They put it on pause. I just saw.
Yeah, they put it on pause.
Yeah.
But they ended up they ended up coming on under fire because they were. I don't know if there was like a conflict for what the services that they offer, and also buying all the houses that they're buying.
Yeah, they were offering.
Yeah.
They had like an algorithm to just put in offers on homes based on whatever, right?
Exactly. So I don't know. I didn't really get into like what was going on or the context behind that, but I find that very odd when Blackstone is coming in buying $1 billion or having a target. That was the article. They had a target of buying $1 billion worth of homes, single family homes within I don't even know a specific amount of time. That's something that,
but
that's
here's the thing.
unprecedented.
Here's the thing. In my opinion, like, why weren't they doing this before?
Yeah.
Why is it just now? Actually, it's not surprising to me that they're doing it. It's surprising me that they weren't doing it before. Now, here's the thing: that's a lot of firepower, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what was the statistic we just talked about? 15% of home sales in the U.S. in the first quarter were corporate buyers.
Yeah.
Okay?
So let's define corporate buyers because a lot of people might get that a little bit confused. So
I'm a corporate buyer.
Yeah, exactly. So am I.
Sorry.
So I'm a corporate buyer.
We're not Blackstone.
No, exactly. So that means that any kind of property sale is registered to a corporation.
Yeah.
Now, we're not talking about... Now, you also have to put this in context that the majority of corporate buyers and investors, especially in the States, are buying corporately because there's a lot more tax advantages. We're not referring to the one or two investment properties that people would buy personally. I mean, not to say that that's not a large amount, but the fact of the matter is 15% of homes being bought corporately is a dramatic number when you actually like provide the context that like that 15% is like related to investors.
Yeah.
Like it's
that's indicative of
purchase.
Big players.
Yeah.
You don't get to 15% of all purchases without those institutions and their firepower, right? Like, you got a lot of investors out there buying individual properties, which I want to touch on as well. In the history of the world and going forward, there has never been more real estate investors or wannabe real estate investors ever in the history of the world. Do you know how many people call me every week as an investor agent just in Windsor? Do you have any like 3 or 4 people? I'm just getting into real estate. I'm just watching these YouTube videos. I'm reading these books. I read Kiyosaki, whatever the case is. It's ingrained in the culture now that you got to own real estate. So our point here is that all these investors are snapping up all the supply. Okay, we're already short. Government's not slowing down on their immigration policy. Everything else that we talk about over and over again, not enough supplies, not enough material, not enough labor. This is why, in my opinion and yours, I think we're on the same page. Real estate will be concentrated in the hands of the few. And a lot of people think, well, how can that possibly be? Look at all the major cities across the world and tell me that this isn't already the case, right? Almost every Eastern European city, major cities across the U.S., L.A., New York, whatever, right? Name them. All the rich people and generational wealth own most of the good real estate. Like it's just the way it is, right? So it just hasn't really happened here, especially in a small city like Windsor and maybe most cities in Canada, but it probably has happened in Toronto, right? Like how many individual people can no longer afford a home in the GTA?
Well, here's a stat. I'll give you another stat. So number one, in Canada, the majority of larger scale real estate, now I don't exactly know what to define larger scale real estate, but some of the people that I have talked to about this stat refer to it anything like 15 to 20 units above.
I can read that.
Probably 20 units above is like 80 to 90% owned by funds and institutions.
REITs.
Yeah.
Pension funds,
and that's
whatever,
what we
right?
mean. Yeah. Whereas in the US, 80 to 90% are corporately and privately owned. Whereas you have 10 to 20% owned by institutions, REITs, things like that. So it's actually one of the reasons why we're actually doing what we're doing in the States, because
that's why you can't get returns.
Exactly. That's why you can't, because those institutions will come in, scoop stuff up for a 2 cap or 3 cap because they need to deploy capital.
And do you think they care if the cash on cash return isn't 7%?
No, they don't care.
They don't care at all.
Obviously, because all their, like at the end of the day, their investors only care about the appreciation and that what they're going to get cashed out at in 5 years or whatever. So
doesn't matter. Yeah.
So I don't know that the US is like that right now, but with that said, in Canada, where it's 80 to 90% institutionally owned, how many large institutions could there possibly be in Canada? There's not that many. There's like Boardwalk, and then you have like Timber Creek, and like you have these REITs. You don't have a lot of like really, really large privately owned multi-billion-dollar portfolios owned by one guy. Like that's not like a common thing. So you have these like massive institutional players in Canada that are the movers in the country that make it very difficult for people to acquire.
And it's getting more difficult.
Especially in Canada. In the States, I don't think that that's necessarily the case yet. It might be moving there.
I like that word, yet.
Yeah, only based off of that stat. That and here's the thing too, like, you know, that's institutionally owned. You know, when we refer to, you know, corporately owned, I don't know what that stat is, and I don't know who, you know, is Blackstone considered. Like, I don't know exactly what corporately owned funds, you know, what the percentage of their ownership of real estate in the US is. I don't know. But I know, again, 10 to 20% is only owned by institutions, you know, typically the REITs and all that kind of stuff. And the opposite is in Canada.
Yeah, so we're seeing a shift here. We're seeing institutional money enter the market at a bigger pace. And we're also seeing not institutions, but small corporate investors. And even the people that don't, like I bought my first 5 rentals, not in a corporation, they were in my personal name, right? So it wouldn't even show up on the radar. So the supply is getting more and more limited. And I guess my point here is like, I don't know, if you agree with this assessment, you better start buying real estate now, right? Like you better start owning real estate now before it's too late, right? Like you can't go to New York right now in any high quality area or high demand area and buy anything if you're an investor and make money, right? Because they bought it 50 years ago, right? And they snapped up all the supply. And we just, for some reason, I think in Windsor and these smaller Canadian cities, people don't think that's possible. But in my opinion, it's inevitable because this train won't stop. Investors have money. They have a ton of money right now. They have a ton of equity. They have firepower. The institutions have nonstop firepower. They're getting contributions monthly from all the pension contributors, right? Like they have money constantly they have to deploy. These funds like BlackRock, they have investors' money nonstop. They got to deploy it. Not like it's this game is getting bigger, and real estate isn't going to be able to keep up with the demand because it's too slow to build. Yeah, especially in a political environment like Canada, which we criticize all the time because it's a freaking nightmare. Even like I was just reading, they're doing the boardwalk thing or whatever on the river. They're talking about that pavilion or
that fucking
the
train
thing.
Oh my.
So I saw something and they came out and they announced, oh yeah, we're doing this train thing. The next day I saw city putting train thing on hold because there's debates. Like the next day I'm like, oh, this is going to get, like, you know what I mean? Now they're debating it again, right? For the 10th time. It's been like 2 years in the works. So you can't get anything done here. The government's too big. There's too many voices. There's too many people. It's a socialist environment. We got to get everybody's opinion on everything. Instead of somebody coming in, making a clear-cut decision that's for the majority's interest, like one businessman coming in and saying, this is what we're going to do. Just kind of how you when you got on the board of the condos there, you came in and started making business decisions, right? You had a lot of voices, people saying, oh, we should do this, chandeliers here, we should make this. And you're like, no, we need a business decision here. This is what we're doing. And you helped clean up the condo board. You need those types of people with a capitalist mindset to just come in and make decisions. You start to get 1,000 voices, you can't get anything done. Yeah. So how is this problem?
It's great in theory to have everybody's opinion, but
it just doesn't work.
In practice, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It never has, and it never will, because you'll never get 100% consensus on anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
So
sometimes a decision is better than no decision.
Yes.
Or what's that saying?
Oh yeah.
What is it? So, Jesse, I know you know. A decision
indecision will cost you more than decision.
Exactly. Yeah.
Always. Exactly. Over a long period of time, you're indecisive. I know people that have been indecisive about this market for a decade.
And that's exactly what our government is.
Yes.
The reason why we have such a big government is because we need multiple people to make one decision because nobody wants to take ownership of that one decision.
New department for everything.
Yeah. If you do, you're fucked.
Yeah,
right?
Because the public will come down on you, and then you got to try to please everybody.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. You know that building that I have on Plisher. That I still haven't gotten approval for.
Unreal, man,
dude. So I've owned this building since February, and it turns out that I didn't have to do any kind of environmental on it, but I originally was told that I needed environmental, so I did an environmental. Jesus. Then I did the environment. This was like after like 6 months of arguing with like people. And everybody was like, nope, you got to talk to the provincial government. And the provincial government was telling us, well, you have to talk to the municipal government. Then the municipal government was like, no, you got to talk to like IRCA. And then IRCA was like, no, it's not us. It's these guys. And then these guys were like, no, it's not us. It's those guys. It was ridiculous.
He's not joking about this.
I'm not even joking.
This is really how it is.
I actually have like multiple email chains of like going back and forth where like literally no one you can actually see it. You can tell no one wanted to take the onus of like making a decision. You can totally fucking see it. You can totally see it.
To be clear, like it's a decent project, right? Yeah. But it's not like you're building the Taj Mahal. No. It's not like a major infrastructure project. No. Like it's kind of an average size project.
Yeah, I'm adding residential units, which is like apparently
which they want so badly.
Which they want downtown.
It's in the core.
Yeah,
as well.
It's in the downtown core. I'm trying to add residential units in the very spot that they're like literally so horny for downtown, and they're like, it's been since February 20 of this year, 2021. It's been ridiculous. And you can see it in the email chains that like literally nobody wants to make a decision. So finally, we get somebody that's like that can actually provide a little bit of decision making power here. Turns out I never needed a phase 1, which I already did, and I don't need a phase 2. All they ended up coming up and saying was the only time you actually need a phase 1 for this particular project is if the bank requires it from you. What happens? I talked to the bank. They're like, no, we don't need no fucking phase 1.
Unreal. And
so I spent literally $12,000 fucking dollars for zero reason.
Those aren't cheap.
No, it was $12,000. Yeah. And then so you know what happens? So then I do the phase 1. The phase 1 came back because there was a fucking laundromat, God knows where. It was like a couple blocks over, and because the laundromat was kind of like running. The water supply for the laundromat was kind of like, or the sewer system or whatever. I don't even know what it was. I don't remember, but it kind of like coincided with where my building was in placement. But we're talking about like this fucking laundromat was like 50 years ago. Okay. So you know what they want? You know what they wanted? They wanted a phase 2. Oh. You know how much phase 2 is?
How much?
Like 30 to 40 grand.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
me,
that's
man?
what they quoted.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if I would have done a phase 2 and I never would have needed any of them? And you know what the city's argument for that was? Like saying that that's what I needed? Well, it's not a big deal because we offer a 50% grant for it.
Oh.
Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Not a big
deal. Like, you're kidding me, right? Yeah. Like, okay, no problem. Okay, well, then you give me the fucking 25, 30 grand then, you idiot.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this is an exact example of when you have too many people and no one's making a decision because everybody's just passing the buck on because nobody wants to take the responsibility of making the decision. This is the problem with big government.
Yes.
I've been fucking what is it now? Almost 10 months in the making of this project?
Yeah.
It's a joke. What a fucking joke.
It's an absolute nightmare.
Fucking joke.
So for anybody listening to this, how do you see this crisis 2.0, like we're calling it, which is not enough supply for the increasing demand? How do you see this getting cleared up? How is it possible, right? Like I said, that's why our theory is that it's going to continually get concentrated in the hands of the wealthy. We're just going to keep buying it all. We're just going to keep buying, putting our money to work and owning all, the majority of real estate in the country. Now, I think the same thing is going to happen in the U.S. They're just 10 years behind, but they now have a socialist government, right? And I think they're going to be in power for a long time. And their government's going to grow bigger. There's going to be more regulation, more red tape, more bureaucracy, more levels of government, more levels of, they're very pro-environmental, more environmental studies. All the same things that we're talking about here are going to happen over there. They're just 10 years behind us, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's also an opportunity for us to come in at the early stages of socialism and buy real estate over there.
Yeah, because we understand it.
Yeah, because we've seen it. We've seen it play out here. America is the most capitalist country in the history of the world. So, those ideas are going to take a longer time to topple, but they will probably topple over time. Canada's been...
It seems that way, that's for sure. I hope it doesn't, but it seems that way.
Yeah, Canada's always kind of been socialist capitalist mix, but now we're swinging way on the socialist side. Big government is getting bigger and bigger. There's no balance anymore. It's just getting out of control. Big government, pandering to the middle class, telling them one thing but doing another.
And let's be honest. Like when you have this kind of government, like it's wild to me how you'll go on Facebook and you'll see comments and that people, write on these fucking posts. It's like crazy. They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. None. Like, don't you think, the expenses that I've incurred owning that fucking property downtown that I haven't been able to do fuck all with for the better part of a year? Who do you think that's going to go to?
It has to.
It's going to get passed on to the tenants.
It has to.
It's going to get passed on to tenants. It's going to get passed on to the home buyers, like all that shit. All this red tape, prolonged shit, that all could not be... Like, the shit will get approved.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's going to get approved. It's going to get approved. I'm going to build those fucking units.
Yeah.
Just give me the fucking green light.
Yeah.
Like, give me the green light so that I don't incur so many fucking bullshit costs anymore, okay? And I could just build these units affordably for people. But you know what? Now...
You can't.
It's so fucking expensive, I can't do it anymore.
You can't build affordable housing.
You can't.
It is a misnomer. It is an oxymoron. And the government is selling you snake oil when they say affordable housing. It's impossible.
Yeah.
This is why. 100%. This is why.
Yeah. So, I think it's hilarious when I see these comments and they're like, oh, fucking agents are fucking greedy. A home buyer or everybody coming from, oh my God. Everybody coming from Toronto is buying up everything and fucking doing flips. Like, you stupid fuck. They're the ones moving the market. Really?
Yeah.
So it's a combination of everything. And, I don't understand how people can be so like blinded to what's going on.
Literally,
you want to pick sides. You
talk to your
need,
MP.
Yeah, you need to talk to the government. Like the government is fucking you. It's not everybody else. It's the government is fucking you right in your ass.
It's like I was arguing with somebody very close to me a couple years ago when they introduced the carbon tax and they shut down the Canadians' oil pipelines and all that stuff. And my debate was, watch what's going to happen. Yeah, this pro-environmental stuff is it's great on paper, but for example, like the carbon tax, right?
Yeah.
The Canadian tax, if you produce a certain amount of carbon, you get taxed X amount. So all the oil producers are now getting taxed that they have to pay to the government. What do you think they're going to do with their increased costs?
Has nobody noticed that gas is $1.50 a liter right now? Like, you know what it was? Like, what was it like before even like I don't know, a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Before it was introduced, it was $1.
It's 25% higher, 30% higher in a couple months.
But that only affects the rich, Scott.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, tax the rich. Tax the rich. When you tax the rich, when you tax the people that are moving the economy, they can't run their business at a negative profit, you're losing money. They'd go out of business. They have to pass that cost on. Yeah. It's the same with the landlord or any other business. You can't run a business losing money.
Yeah.
But his debate was, I remember saying like, increased taxes are coming. Like they're going to tax you. They're going to hurt the middle class with all these policies, whatever. He said, well, increased taxes aren't part of their platform, right? The liberal government. Yeah. I said, they do it subversively. Yeah. They do it with increased regulation, the carbon tax. They do it with this, that, whatever. Like and the middle class doesn't know they're being taxed.
Yeah.
And they don't understand why they can't get ahead. It's because of those policies and they're subversives, right? Like if you tax the landlord, right? The new, what are they talking about now? $600 fee per rental property in Windsor.
Yeah. To license it, like it's like per year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's a
decent percentage.
That's going to cost me. I don't even know. Like what would that cost me? Like
might be close to $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Like $150,000-$200,000.
Yeah.
Like. I'm not paying for that. Like, I'm going to get that money back.
You have to.
Like, people don't understand. Like, people are like, yeah, we need that. But we need that, but we want affordable housing.
Yeah.
That doesn't, like, you can't have both.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to be both.
Yes. And they don't understand it.
Yeah.
They don't understand. Crazy. They just think, oh, yeah, tax those people. Put licenses on them.
They think this is going to be better for the market. They think this is going to be better for, they think this is going to be better for everyone. Like, motherfucker, if you don't want to live in that kind of house, fucking leave. Like, we don't have like a situation where, our government, like one of the advantages of going to the U.S. and doing what we're doing in the U.S. is like, if you don't fucking pay in 30 days, you're out.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. Over here, it ain't like that. Yeah. Okay. If like Dave or whoever, like there was a scenario, like I've had multiple scenarios where people came to me and was like, my landlord isn't doing this, my landlord's not doing that. And then the landlord can threaten whatever they want. But at the end of the day, if your living conditions are not like where they need to be, you fucking leave.
Yeah.
There's no like recourse. Mm-hmm. There's no problem. Yeah. Like you could just leave.
Yeah.
So
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no reason for that to exist here in Canada.
Yeah.
There's no reason for having certain regulations because there's so many regulations already in place that protect you.
Yeah.
Like, fire code, this, that. Like, you can't see that this is a money grab.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see this. Like, people are so blind. Like, it's crazy. It's hilarious, man. It's almost fucking hilarious.
Yeah. In that particular situation with the licenses is just another form of a hidden tax that will eventually get, passed on to the poor and middle class.
Yeah.
End of story.
Like, I think it's hilarious. Like, how many fucking people, like, what do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to hire, like, fucking 10,000 agents to go around to fucking rental properties? Yeah. No, there's going to be one fucking motherfucker in Windsor.
Yeah.
Or two that's going to, like, maybe pick up on, I don't know, like, one or two. Like, and then how slow he's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a joke.
It's going to be a joke.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking joke. There's going to be 5 people in an office that, how many, like, I can't even imagine how many rentals there are in Windsor. Yeah. Like, let alone fucking Toronto. Like, how do you even think this is a free market economy? How do you think you're going to police it?
Yeah,
this is hilarious.
Yeah, and this is like the point here is that these a free market economy in general is better for everybody, including the poor and middle class. You have more options. Again, a lot of these policies, right? When you make it so hard for me to get rid of a tenant in Ontario, I have to be very careful with who I'm going to rent to. I can't rent to anybody with bad credit.
Yeah.
I can't. And luckily, we're in a situation right now where there's so much demand for rentals and so little supply that I can be very choosy.
Yeah.
Now the tables have turned, right? So that person that's a little bit down on their luck, sorry, buddy, you're luck. And these policies again end up hurting the lower end people, but those lower end people love it. They love and vote for these policies because they don't understand the actual recourse of it. They don't see the big picture. And I love that quote, in capitalism, bread lines up for you. In socialism, you line up for bread, right? In capitalism, if you could just build housing a lot more freely, there'd just be more options and be more affordable for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. A lot more people would get a lot richer more easily and more quickly. Yet everybody hates...
I agree with that, but you the wealth would be spread a lot more too.
Spread more, yes.
Which is also a big advantage.
But there'd
for people.
be more rich people.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be easier to
and there'd
get
be more opportunity.
Yes.
Like more people would.
It would grow the economy.
Yeah, it would grow
There'd be
the
more
economy.
options. There'd be more high-end options for all the people to choose
Yeah.
from. Low, middle class, high class,
That's why
upper class, whatever.
States like Florida, like a lot of these other states, even like any state in the U.S. besides probably fucking New Jersey, New York, and California, they're not hurting.
Yeah.
Like they came out of this without an issue.
Yeah.
Like if you actually noted, like one of the things that Florida did, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but when all this shit was going on in the economy where people were shutting everything down and the federal government was pumping money into certain states, you know how much Florida got? Fucking zero. And Florida ended up having to pay the federal government.
Interesting.
There's a reason. I don't remember the specifics. Don't fucking come at me with them. But at the end of the day, something like that happened because why? Florida's a capitalistic type of state.
They kept the
fucking money train
running, right?
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing politicians love to do is they come out and on paper attack rich people and entrepreneurs. They love it on paper, right? And then, you're seeing people wear dresses, tax the rich to events and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
I just keep telling people it doesn't work.
No.
It hurts everybody. It hurts the middle class, poor, and the entrepreneurial type person that wants to get ahead. It hurts us all equally, but the middle class and poor love it. They vote for it, yet they're getting burned by it. And what we're seeing right now is massive burning. Like you're getting burned so badly. Your buying power is dissipating so quickly. Your options are running out so fast. And they don't realize it. They continue to say, tax the rich. Oh, the rich people are the problem. The rich people are the problem. The rich people. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's taxing the rich that's the problem because now I can't do anything. I can't build. I can't go out and build 20 new subdivisions of affordable housing. You literally can't build affordable housing.
Takes fucking 5 years.
But even if you did it, it would take 5 years and it would be expensive. So you can't do it affordably.
Yeah.
Yet people keep wondering why prices are rising. Like it's because of these stupid policies, right? Anyways, I don't know how we got onto all this.
Well,
but
it's because this is all of this combined is producing the 2.0 housing crisis.
And what's happened in the GTA, right? GTA is unaffordable for the average Canadian. 100%.
Fucking, I wouldn't even. I would even say like you over and above the average Canadian.
Yeah, like upper middle class.
Yeah.
It's out of reach in anybody. In the middle
you
class
have to be you have to be well off.
You'd have to be well off
if you want to own and like think about it. Like if you want to actually like own some dirt with where you live, it's unattainable.
Yeah.
You can't be like middle class.
If you're starting out entering the market, if you already own something, you got equity and stuff, you're okay. But the people that want to enter the market, which is a lot of people, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And what's happened in the GTA, and not just the GTA, but all major cities around the world historically, is now happening everywhere. Okay? In Canada, we're way ahead of the game. In the US, it's probably going to happen as well in almost any major city in the US and Canada. All the wealthy people will own all the real estate.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Housing crisis 2.0.
Well, what did you see about Blackstone or BlackRock? What did you see the other day? Whether it's true or not, whatever the fuck. What did you watch or what did you read or whatever?
Oh, so like there's a handful of institutional investors, BlackRock, Vanguard, and Berkshire Hathaway, that basically own the majority shares of almost every major corporation in the United States of America. These companies are all publicly traded: Google, Facebook, Amazon, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo. The majority shareholders of almost all those corporations, all the media companies, Disney, whatever, Vanguard, BlackRock, Berkshire Hathaway.
Crazy.
Like every one of them. So people keep saying, well, this is a conspiracy, this is crazy, that's crazy, whatever. No, like the wealthy people already own all of America. Now they're starting to own all the real estate.
So all of the now, one thing I did notice when I was over in Florida and we were qualifying these properties, I saw a lot of stuff getting listed with Berkshire.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that they actually had a fund, or not a fund, but I didn't know that they had a real estate company, and I didn't know that they actually held real estate, which they actually do.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I thought that they were like an equities trader predominantly, or equity fund or whatever. I didn't know that they were like a property. I didn't know that they owned property, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So obviously they're getting into that.
Yeah, Warren Buffett had a quote, it was a couple years ago, but it was like, if management wasn't an issue, I would go buy 1 million single family homes in the US.
Management? Like his management?
Like, managing it, whatever. Like,
okay,
as an investor, he's the ultimate investor, whatever, right? He buys companies and whatever. He's like, the best investment would be single family homes in the United States. And he obviously sees something, and whether or not they're actually, I haven't followed up, whether or not they're, purchasing in large quantities. But
it's funny because I tried, remember that 48 unit portfolio of single family homes, like all along the coast, from like spanning from like, I don't even know, like Palm Beach all the way down to Miami. Remember that?
Yep.
I fucking wanted that so bad. It was unattainable. Yeah. I wanted that so bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was managed already, right? They had
it was managed. It was the price tag was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
cap rate wasn't super high, whatever.
No, it was a good enough cap rate, but oh man, like to own that, like you're talking like that'll double in probably fucking 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think honestly, I keep telling people, like, single family homes right now below the replacement cost, which is pretty high. The replacement cost is very high right now. Are maybe the best investment in the world. Because you can't replace that again. Nobody's building single family homes anymore unless they're $1 million plus. That's even in Windsor, by the way, let alone expensive cities. You can't build a single family home basically less than $1 million, unless you're on the outskirts, and then that's going to dry up real quick. That's going to, a year or two away, even Amherstburg, Essex, whatever. It won't happen. So
I don't like them for investment, to be honest with you, but that's neither here nor there. But
well, you might not like it relative to other opportunities, but the beginner investor relative to stocks or any other option, it's it's a killer investment option.
Yeah, there's no economies of scale. You can't scale like I get it. Like an individual investor, it's good and everything. And I don't get me wrong, I made a lot of money doing it myself. But if you truly want to scale your portfolio and be a part of something big, it's not the route.
No, it's good, and it
might be the route. Like I say that when like Blackstone or whatever that fucking group is buying or has a target to buy $1 billion worth of single family homes, but they also have the resources to make that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And think about that too. $1 billion, you only need 20% down typically for a single family home. Let's call it maybe even 30 for a corporation, whatever. That's a lot of buying power. That's basically what's that? Times it by 3 or 4, right? That's basically $3 or $4 billion of buying power.
Yeah.
How many homes could that buy you? Especially in like some smaller, less expensive cities, which they're probably targeting. Man, that's this trend is not going to stop.
Yeah.
At what point do you think people will stop buying real estate as an investment? It's always been the best investment class in the history of the world. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else to put your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, housing crisis 2.0, you're either in now or you're on the sidelines forever. Because once it gets past that tipping point, which it already has in most major cities around the world, you're out of the game forever, in my opinion. You just end it with that.